Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to XDefiant, the game that everyone was hyped about, the game that everybody was excited for, and also the game that has not yet come out and also has not had a ton of updates over the course of the past 6 months. Well, today, Tom Henderson, who is well known as an industry insider who covers all sorts of video games, I've covered him and used him as a source countless times here in the channel. He posted an article over on his website, Insider Gaming, and here we see exclusive, what's going on with XDefiant. And in here, we have about a 2-minute long read, but there's definitely some really interesting things that have been said about why XDefiant has not yet been released. Now, right here, according to Ubisoft's Q3 2024 earnings report, XDefiant is scheduled to be released by the end of Q4 2024, which is March 31st. But with just 1 week until the date, there's been zero indication of a release. The once loathed transparency is now seemingly dead, and XDefiant hasn't had an update for some time. Speaking with developers at Ubisoft who wish to remain anonymous because they are not authorized to speak about company plans, it's understood that XDefiant was aiming to release during the last week of February when this initial release date was made public via Ubisoft's earnings call, a deadline that was obviously missed. Continuing on here, this is where things get really interesting. Insider Gaming understands that XDefiant has missed dozens of internal targets in the past couple of years, including release dates, putting them firmly in the realm of other Ubisoft titles that is constantly in limbo. Developers working on the project are becoming increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress, and in short, the game's shortcomings stem from the executives' pursuit of trying to copy Call of Duty rather than building their own game. Creatively, it's frustrating for the team, but from a technical perspective, it also presents new challenges and has been the main reason for delays. Now, here's a quote from one of those developers that wanted to remain anonymous. "The never-ending hunt to chase COD and add pointless stuff always breaks the current build," said one source, which often then requires days of fixing the game. So, ladies and gentlemen, according to Tom Henderson and his sources over on the XDefiant team, apparently they're working to continuously add just new features that Call of Duty is known for to make the game more palatable for potential Call of Duty refugees. How many times have I talked about here in the channel where XDefiant's main selling point for a lot of COD fans anyway is the fact that it's going to be an old school, fast-paced arcade shooter similar to older Call of Duty titles. Prestige mode is going to be returning, and most importantly, skill-based matchmaking is not going to exist. Like, those factors alone got people interested, and then they played the open tests and things like that, and that's when they really understood that XDefiant does have a lot of good things going for it. The playtests were incredibly fun, in my opinion, and in the opinion, I'm sure, of many other people out there. Like, the reviews seemed to be pretty positive, but unfortunately, that was like last summer that we were playing those open tests and things like that, right? It's been forever. People are already forgetting that XDefiant even exists. Like, right now, XDefiant's kind of in this limbo state where it had all of its hype, it had all these people really gunning for the game and really excited for it and wanting to see what it was going to be all about, and now almost a year has gone by, and XDefiant is quickly becoming that game that everyone was hyped for last summer, and then it just sort of disappeared. I understand that they are delaying the game for any number of reasons, right? I've always said I would rather have a late game as compared to a bad game, right? How often do we see it with the COD cycle every single year where they push out the game, there's a number of bugs, there's a number of issues, they spend half the game's life cycle trying to make the game function and simply just work and actually add content to it, and then by the time the game actually feels really good, by the time there's a lot of weapons, a lot of maps, and the bugs are mostly squashed and everything like that, well, we're already pulling out our credit cards to pre-order the next Call of Duty title so we can jump into that game's beta. Like, that happens every single year. So from my perspective, if XDefiant is going to take longer to come out and as a result be a much better game, then that is fine. That is absolutely fine. I prefer that. But I do understand from Ubisoft's perspective, I understand from the XDefiant perspective and the fan perspective as well, where a lot of people think that they may have missed their mark. They very well may have, because there was a bunch of hype for the game, and now we're almost a year later. You know what I mean? Like, I understand why a lot of people maybe have moved on to other things. Maybe they found a new game to start playing and things like that. And just in general, people aren't going to be as hyped for XDefiant when it comes out now, whenever it does, if it does, in 2024, as compared to if they would have released that game back in 2023. Even though, you guys remember, back then, I was even a proponent back then of them delaying the game until early 2024, which is where we are right now. In fact, if you guys recall, I believe I actually said said March would be the perfect time to release, because that way they're not competing with COD, they're not competing with the fourth quarter, they're not competing with really anything. There's not really a whole lot coming out right now in March, and a bunch of other games did that in the past, and they were very successful as a result. Borderlands and Titanfall are two examples off the top of my head that released during around this time of the year, and they were much better off for it, because again, they were not competing with the fourth quarter and the Christmas sales and the juggernauts like the Maddens and the Call of Duties of the world that everyone's going to buy every single year. It's the perfect time to release, and apparently we are going to be getting an update relatively soon, because not even like an hour into that article coming out, we got our first update from Mark Rubin in a couple of months in regards to XDefiant. So let's go ahead and check that out. Here we have the entire tweet list here from Mark Rubin. We have an update coming soon, probably this week. I know we've been silent because, to be honest, there isn't much to talk about. I know people just want to see the game ship, and so do we. He then continues on, I can't wait to ship just so we don't have to talk about ship dates anymore, and we can talk about more important stuff like gameplay balancing or new content, modes, maps, and etc. Just to be clear, we are not sitting around with the game fixing every last little bug. Nobody launches perfect bug-free games. We do our best, but it's just not realistic to think that. We had major technical issues that we found right before we launched that had to be fixed. He then continues on to say, and that's what the team has been working on. And they are not just some minor bug fixes, but major infrastructure and full system overhauls. The game remains the same that you played already, which we have strived to make as fun as possible, which we feel confident about. So aside from questions about launch, which I can't talk about, I'm happy to chat about most anything related to the game. For instance, I can confirm that no push has been made to put skill-based matchmaking in the game. Our unranked playlist will still have no skill-based matchmaking, and you will get the variety of gameplay that you see when there isn't skill-based matchmaking. Anyway, I hope everyone is having a great weekend, and thank you all for following XDefiant with so much passion. We love you all. From there, Mark Rubin stuck to his word, and he responded to a bunch of people on Twitter who had questions about XDefiant, mostly gameplay features and things like that. He said that there will be a camo grind right from the start of the game, no disbanding lobbies within XDefiant. Apparently, Prestige mode will still be coming post-launch. I really would have hoped they would have had that right there from the very beginning, but perhaps they're working out a reward structure and reward systems for Prestige mode. I really have no idea. And then we have this one right here, the final, most interesting part of this video today. Mark Rubin responds to this tweet right here of this guy saying, imagine chasing COD, to which Mark responds, just FYI, nothing about our delay is due to any new features. In fact, not much has changed from a gameplay standpoint. The delay has been due to the tech issues we've talked about. Whoever said chasing COD in Tom's report was a major eye roll. So according to Mark Rubin, who's the head honcho of XDefiant, he's saying that whatever employee under him that said that they were chasing COD and adding all these features and whatnot was basically lying. So maybe a little bit of internal strife happening over there at Ubisoft. I really have no idea, but as of right now, all we've really learned is XDefiant is still delayed. There will be an update soon, and that's about it, man. We're kind of in the same spot, I suppose, that we've been in for almost the past year. But as always, I am still hyped for this game. I thoroughly enjoyed it back when we got to do the playtest and things like that. And I'm really hoping that the game does come out soon and that it lives up to those expectations that we have. Although, again, the entire idea of this delay and how long people have waited, people are going to expect this game to be like the second coming. You know what I mean? People are going to expect this game to be flawless because of how long they have had to wait for it to come out and how many times it has been delayed. So they're kind of setting themselves up for failure at this point because people are really, really wanting this game and they're expecting it to be perfect, but no game is ever going to be perfect. But they've been spending a lot of time to ensure that it's as good as it can possibly be for the launch window. So I guess we're going to have to wait and see just how good the game is going to be and how badly the delays have hurt the overall hype of XDefiant. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I'll keep you posted as we learn more and as the story develops. So for right now, that's it for this video here today. Leave your thoughts and feedback on XDefiant down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.